Good evening, everyone. Just trying to join you guys in the comments. Hi, Judy. Welcome to everyone that is joining. Hi, Alba. Okay, people are starting to join. How are you all? Hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining tonight's live class. Hi, Cass. Welcome to all those that are joining tonight's live class. Hello, Kim. I'm good, thank you. Hi, Raksha. It's just very hot. So if you hear my fan, I do apologize. Let it be white noise in the background. I'm just going to allow a few moments to pass, then we can start. Thank you to all that is joining. Please remember that tonight's live class is recorded. So if you cannot stay for the entirety of the class or you'd like to revisit what we're making tonight, you are always able to go back onto Cricut South Africa's YouTube channel and rewatch. Okay, I trust that you can hear and see me clearly. I see Judy did respond with she is well and me. So yeah, if there is any questions that you may ask, please pop it onto the comments. I will be engaging in the comments as I go along, but there is also a lovely group of knowledgeable admin ladies that are ready to answer any questions that you might have. So let's start. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Caroline Tixera and I am a proud Cricut ambassador. And tonight I'm going to be walking you through a beginner's class, which is proudly sponsored by Cricut South Africa and Logitech. And together we are going to be making some rolled felt flowers with some beautiful glittery edged edges, and we're going to be attaching that onto giant paper clips, perfect for a bookmark, for your own books, for Bible journaling, or to add to a special gift. So let's see how that looks up nice and close, and I'm going to flip over my screen. There we go. So I wonder if you can see that. Here are a few. So I used the yellow and the purple felt from the Cricut felt sampler, and these are all different flowers. Some are the same, but then the colors just differ. And if you can see clearly, I hope you can, just have a look here. You can see that beautiful glittery edge all around it, just to elevate a basic rolled flower. I think it's super, super cute, and this person can really go and be super creative with different colors, and the project will look super cute. Okay, so let's see what we are going to be needing for today. Obviously, we're going to be needing a Cricut machine. I'm using my Cricut Maker 4, and the Maker series have some specialized blades that you can use, and tonight one of the blades are this rotary blade, and as you can see the blade is round and it has its own housing. So you are able to cut some felt with a fine point blade as well if you've got the Explore series machines or the Joy series machines, but I find that the rotary blade is giving the best results as the blade rolls the material as it cuts, and it minimizes fraying and gives it the best clean cut edges. And then we're going to be using our fine point blade as well to cut the iron on. And let me show you, this is the Cricut Felt Summer Sky Sampler. And there are 10 beautiful colors, and I really do love this felt. It is thin, yet it's stiff, and it really is premium quality. And I think tonight we are going to be using the red. I actually just want to show you, if you open up your pack, right at the bottom, let me quickly just show you this. I found this very helpful. Careful not to rip your felt. If you open it on up, right at the back, it shows you what machines are compatible, and it gives you some basic instructions, which I found very, very cool for those beginners that might see this and think, oh, what do I do and how do I do it? I think this is, yeah, some very helpful tips. So that is that, and we're going to be using the red tonight. I think it's going to look very cool. And then the glitter iron-on that I'm going to be using tonight, oh, that's quite bright, is the glitter iron-on, and this is the Glam Squad sampler, and there is 3 pretty colors. I think I'm going to be using this. It looks red on the screen, but it is like this fuchsia, very dark, rich pink. That's going to look very pretty against the red, if you can see that. Yeah. Okay. The next thing we're going to be needing is a fabric mat. This one is a very brand new mat, which I absolutely love. And I do recommend having a fabric mat dedicated entirely for your felt projects, because as it cuts, it does leave a lot of fuzz behind, and you want to preserve it as long as possible and keep that just for those type of projects. But tonight I'm also going to be showing you how to protect your mat using a layer of transfer tape to create that barrier so that you can extend the longevity of your mat. It is a lot more cost effective to replace a sheet of transfer tape than an entire mat. Okay, we're going to be needing a standard grip mat as well for our iron-on. Of course, our favorite tool of all, our brayer tool, to place everything down nicely onto our mats. A Cricut Easy Press mat. Sad days, I messed it up with some infusible ink. I failed to protect it, but now it's got some character, which that is okay too. And we need a glue gun or some glue sticks, a weeding tool, and our Cricut mini press as well. And of course, some giant paper clips. If you have smaller ones, you can always go for a smaller flower, and that will work perfectly too. And this is the tool that I'm going to be using to roll my flowers, and this is the reverse grip Cricut tweezers, which is a lovely add-on. Okay, so I think we can get started. I think that is all that I need to show you. So let's go on over to Design Space. Okay. All right, I just need you to confirm with me. It looks like it is working. My screen tends to freeze when it comes to this part, but I think it is good to go. If you can just confirm for me. Let's see. Yes, it's working. Yay! Caroline, Cricut 1, Gremlins 0. So let's get started. Okay, so because this is a beginner's class, I just want to show you how easy it is to find these beautiful rolled flowers. So here is our home on Design Space, and I'm going to search for rolled flowers. I've decorated a heat press mat before. Yeah, let's go with we did it on purpose, hey? Okay, so here are a bunch of different rolled flowers, but my personal favorites are the Cricut ones. So if you go on over here to the left side panel and click on Cricut, it's going to refine our search and give us all the Cricut flowers. So one thing I really do love about this is because once you click on it, there is some basic instructions here and that you can follow, which is super helpful and super inspiring as well for those that are maybe beginner and want to know how to do it and a little bit intimidated. This just seems to give you that bit of an oomph to just start, you know. And what's also nice about this, there is a very short assembly video as well. It's not even a minute long, I think, which is also so helpful. Here it also shows what the measurements will be once the product is also finished, which is so lovely and such a nice add-on. But for now, we are going on over to my canvas and show you my flowers. Okay, hello Rulani. All right, so when it comes to creating rolled flowers, a few things that we need to consider or establish firsthand would be what our measurements would be. So obviously this is a flat 2D item or cut, essentially when you cut it, and we are making 3D rolled flowers. So a few things that we need to consider would be materials that we are using. So tonight we are using felt, and that is a lot thicker than cardstock would be. So it would make the flower ever so slightly bigger than what it would be if you were cutting it out of cardstock, because the material is obviously thicker. And once you start rolling your flower, it will essentially be a looser roll than what cardstock would be because of the thickness of the material. Hello, Margaret. Welcome tonight. Okay. So another thing would be sorry, I'm trying to see the comments. Okay. So another thing to consider would be the thickness of the spiral. So if you have a look here, these flowers are all different. So this one over here is a little bit thicker than what this last one would be. So that would also make a difference as to what size the rolled flower would come out as. So, excuse me, all 4 of these flowers are 8 centimeters in width. And as you can see, I wrote here on a guide that each rolled flower was a little bit different in size once it was done. So these funny looking yellow circles here is what I measured once my flowers were done. And this is the 2.6 that you see over here. Whoops. And this one's a 2.9, this is a 2.8, and this is the 2.4. Just to help us visualize a little bit what size it will come out as. So what I've seen is that it is obviously bigger than what the platform is over here, because of the petals. Once it's rolled, it's rolled out a little bit outer, and then it gives it that beautiful natural flower look. So as you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This sizing covers that platform and gives it a very thin border alongside it. Looks like I'm struggling with my connection. Okay, it's all good. So if I change this to a guide, I think it'll be easier for us to see, or not really with the red. And that just gives us a good indication of what our measurements would be for the next one if we wanted to make it a little bit bigger. And once you save your project, you can also keep the sizing as that, so that you have something that you can work off of. Okay, so that is that. And these circles over here are the backing, where we are going to glue it, the flower, onto the paper clip and have the backing just to cover the paper clip at the back. So I'm going to just quickly group all of these, and I'm going to hide it so that we can start designing it together. Okay, so I'm going to go on over to the images, and I'm going to search for rolled flowers. Okay, and there are tons of different designs that one can do. And wow, look how pretty that one is with the little hearts on the petals. Oh, so pretty. So obviously when working with these delicate flowers, going a little bit bigger with felt would obviously be a wise decision. And yeah, it will just minimize the fraying around each petal. So I'm going to go onto my bookmarked rolled flowers, and I'm going to choose 2 from over here. Let's go with this one and something like that one. Okay, so right off the bat, they are different sizes, as you can see. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change them both to one color. And I'm choosing red because we're doing the red felt, just to visualize it a little bit. And I'm going to change the width of this one to 8 centimeters in width, and this one as well. Hi everyone that's joining. Hi Zelda. Okay. So I'm going to hide the one for now, and let's work with this one. So essentially our rolled flower is already designed and ready to be cut on any material that one is wanting to make of it. But we are going to now design that beautiful edge for the iron on. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to duplicate this so that we can have 2. I'm going to hide the one and work off this one. Now, to create that edge, I'm going on to my editing tools, and I'm going to click on offset. Now, when choosing to create an offset internally, we go to the left-hand side, and then we start eyeballing exactly how and where we're going to be happy with what it looks like. So for me, I think I'm quite happy with that. So here you can really see for yourself what you would like. If you want it a little bit thicker or thinner, I'm going to do it slightly on the thicker side. And from the red to the blue, that will be that edge of the glitter that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to click on apply, and there we have 2 elements. Now we need to remove one from each other, basically erasing it, and that we use the slice function. So when we are slicing, we can only slice 2 elements at a time. So here is our offset and our spiral rows, and we're going to slice one from one another. So we're going to click on slice to remove it, and then we're going to delete the unwanted ones. Okay, and there is our edge. I'm going to change the color to this lighter pink, just so that we can see what it's going to look like. I'm going to align the two, center, bring our offset high, and there is our edge. Now, just to make it a little bit easier, this area over here is going to be rolled onto itself basically and onto the platform over here. So we don't need this glitter edge at the bottom because we won't see it anyway. And I found that if you only have the outer layer of the petals, it's easier to align it. So we are going to remove this entire inner spiral. And for that, we are going to be slicing using some shapes rather, sorry. So I do prefer using a circle when it comes to slicing. I feel like those rounded edges just get in those tiny little spaces that we want. So I'm just going to resize it much smaller, and I'm going to duplicate it. So this is going to make it a lot easier to do. So what we want at the end is two openings, an opening over there on the inner part of the spiral and on the outer, but we have to slice only two elements at a time, so we're going to be working with one of the sides at a time. So I'm just going to put this circle over here. I'm just going to place it so that the edge just looks neat as I slice it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And I'm going to be careful so that it doesn't overlap onto the other petal here on top, or else it's going to slice that area too. So I think I'm happy with that. It's going to give that edge beautifully onto the petal. And I'm going to select the two and I'm going to slice it. And these three elements I can delete, and there is my opening. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing for the inner side. I'm just going to put my shape on top. And now I need to remember that I'm removing that solid edge, not the petals edge. So I'm going to actually resize this a little bit more. Make sure it's not touching the other side of the petal. I think I'm happy with that. I just want a nice clean edge. Okay, I'm happy with that, and I'm going to select the two again and slice it, deleting these three. Now what you can see is this is one element still with two portions, if I can put it that way. And now I want to remove this entire spiral. And another way we could do it is just keep on slicing as we go along, but we want to work smarter and not harder. So I'm going to select my sliced result, and I'm going to click here at the bottom, and I'm going to contour. So the contour function hides or unhides cut lines in a selected area. So I'm going to click on that, and here is the inner spiral. I can just click and remove, apply, and there is my outer edge for my petals. And I'm going to bring back my felt rose. I'm going to select the two, center it, and I'm happy with my first flower. I'm actually going to group it so that I can move it around as one. So there is our very first rolled flower with the ironed on edge and also the felt spiral. Okay, so we're just going to basically do the same thing for the next one so that we can recap, and here we go. Edit, offset, an internal offset again. Let me just quickly, whoops. Okay, so now this is actually a question that pops up a lot. Here at my editing tools now, nothing is able for me to click on it. So everything is grayed out. It is because I have not selected anything from my canvas to edit. So do not stress, just go onto the image that you're looking to edit, and there we have everything that is available to us to be able to edit it. So once again, we are going to offset, and I am loving how with the new update, the offset actually remembers what the previous offset that you used measurements was. And so I'm actually quite happy with that. We can actually just play around with it a little bit and see. But yeah, I think that looks pretty. Just so that we can have quite a big dimension over there. Once again, we are going to apply that, and now we have the two layers. Now we want to remove it from each other so that we are left with that outer layer. So I'm going to select the two and slice and remove that one and the inner one. I did not duplicate that one. I do apologize. So what we can do is just quickly undo, undo, undo. Okay, we need to duplicate that so that we are still left with our felt spiral. Sorry for that. Okay, edit again, offset, in case you didn't get it, apply, both elements again, slice it from each other, and delete the unwanted ones. Okay, going to quickly change the color again so that we can visualize it. And two shapes again, resizing it very small so that we can use it to make this in two parts. Okay, duplicate that circle so we have another one to work with just now. And I think I'm happy with that. Okay, selecting the two again and slicing. Selecting all three of these and deleting that. Taking our circle again, making sure we're going to that solid inner spiral. And slicing it there. I think that looks good. Selecting the two, slicing, and removing those three. Okay, now we can contour. Excuse me. And removing that inner spiral. And there we have it, our outer layer ready for us. Just going to center it, and there we have it, two flowers designed for our project. Okay, so we can now head on over and cut this. But before we do, we need to just quickly add these circles for the backing, and I went with the measurements of 2 just so that it covers that little piece of the paper clip and also all the glue that might ooze out a little bit. So just that area over there it will cover, and it still won't cover the entirety of the flower, so it looks pretty neat. So I'm going to duplicate that. So there's 2 circles for our 2 flowers, and we can go to our Make It screen. I'm going to quickly switch on my glue gun as well as my heat press. I'm going to click on Make It. on mat. And I'm going to be cutting the iron on first, as that is quicker. So once the felt is busy cutting, we can actually weed this just to save some time. So I'm going to click on continue and choose glitter iron on. So it's telling me to change my blade. So let's switch on screens so we can do this together. Okay, so my screen is telling me to load my fine point blade. So I'm doing that now. Just making sure I've got the right one. Okay, I'm opening up my mat. And I already have a piece of glitter iron on ready. Aligning it left top. I love a new mat. It's like Christmas. Love the tip to slice and opening to create contour function. Wouldn't have even thought of doing that. Thanks. Judy says that I actually discovered this truthfully about 2 nights ago. I was thinking what would be the easiest way to do this, and it was completely a surprise when I did it, and it was game changing, to be honest. So I'm glad that helps. Okay, so I'm spraying down my material, and with the iron on I put the shiny side down. So we are going to cut it on reverse, and my design space automatically changed my image to mirrored on once I chose an iron on material. So I'm going to load my mat. There you go. Hey Claudia. Hi Surya. Okay. And click play. So I actually cut one earlier just to play around a little bit, and this is a different design than what we're actually doing, which is nice, so that we can assemble quite a few, as the felt does take a little bit longer to cut than the iron on, but this is how cute it comes out. And as you can see, this is the ratio to the flower once it is assembled. And here is the iron on with that edge. Okay, so that was quick enough. I like to just check if my material is cut. I know that my blade is relatively new, so that is good. And I'm going to flip my mat over and remove my material from my mat. Okay. Going to just cover my mat. I actually saw this tip on one of the lives the other day, to actually brayer down your protective film so that the air bubbles are closed off, so that no dust can go in there. So I'm super thankful for that tip. Okay, so the next part of this would be our felt. So here is my fabric mat, and I'm going to just double check if I have enough transfer tape to fit my felt. So yes, on my virtual mat it's telling me that it is going to go up to the 9, so I've got a little bit more area to work with. So here is the transfer tape. I'm going to place it down as is so that the sticky side is up, and we're going to apply our felt onto that. Okay, I'm going to brayer that down. And then I'm going to take my weeding tool to just lift up the transfer tape's protective layer. There we go. Going to save that. I am so confused. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness, I am blonde. Sorry about that, guys. Sticky side up, yes, but this side down. Oh man. Okay, now I can't brayer it down because now it is the sticky side. I love how confident a person gets and then you make such a big boo-boo. Hi, Susie. Okay. All right. There we go. Now we are going to place our felt. Left top, align it nice and perfectly onto our transfer tape. Okay, it was a little bit more difficult adhering my transfer tape quite straight, but I think we are good to go. Okay, so now I'm going to brayer down my felt. Hi Natalie, thanks for joining. Sorry that it's been a day. Hopefully this creative project will bring a smile to your face. Okay, now we're going to change our tool from our fine point to our rotary blade. Our gears need to align nicely with the gears there at the back. Into clamp B, and on my screen I'm going to choose felt. And I'm going to quickly just show you. Once I click on felt as my basic base material, it is telling me to load my fine point blade. But when you go here to edit your tools, you are able to swap that out for your rotary blade. And like I said, you are able to use both, but I find that the rotary blade gives the best results when it comes to cutting felt. Okay, so now I'm going to load that in there. Okay, now once that is cutting, I'm going to cut out my iron on. Just looking for my scissors. Okay. I don't have my trimmer here with me, but I do love just to add this to my 13-inch trimmer, cut it from one side to the other, leaving a straight line so that I'm able to just pop this onto a mat straight and cool for our next project. But we make do with what we have. This I keep in my offcuts little file for another project. And here is the two ironed on edges. Okay, so weeding glitter iron on for me is actually so nice. I just like to lift up one of the edges of the corners and just start pulling. and I love how perfectly it cuts, and it's so satisfying just to pull that spiral on out. So Cass is asking, does the felt have a right and wrong side for cutting? As far as I know, this one does not. I have seen that there is a hack for stiffening some of the felts with wax paper, and then obviously that does change which side, I think, but as far as I know, not. I've cut on whichever side I grab and I've had perfect results. Okay, so there we are. Sorry, bring this way too close to the edge. And I'm just peeling it off in spiral motion, turning the backing and pulling the excess off. Okay, so there we have it. These are the two I did now. And I'm going to start ironing on the ones that I did earlier. Okay, so this is the iron-on edge that we have got. It is a very pretty pink. And we carefully just layer it on. I cannot see. As best as we can to that outer layer. I'm just going to bring it closer to me. It's very bright. Okay. I'm just going to flip it over. These are the little leftovers of felt, and it comes out so perfect. Because it's so bright in here, I just want to make sure that I'm layering everything nicely. Okay. That looks good. Okay. So the iron-on backing does really help just to stick on so that it doesn't move so easily. Okay. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to iron it on. It's very bright in here. I'm sorry, it's making a glare. So I just want to, there we go. Okay. Gonna quickly get my easy press mat. Okay, and I've got it on the 2 heat setting, and I'm going to just press it on, applying some pressure from one side to the other. Alba says, I just love rolled flowers, never thought of making them with felt before. And Zelda just challenged her. Looks like it. So yeah, please do. We would love to see all your creations. And this is just one thing that you can do with felt flowers. There are tons of different things you can do. You can actually create an initial letter even out of felt or of wood with your machines as well, and then fill it up with all rolled felt flowers, or shadow box as well. I really love the felt. It works so nicely. And just look at that. Peels off so easily. And there is one of our rolled flowers. You can just see the sparkle in the light. It's so pretty. Okay. So my machine is still cutting. So let's roll this one along. So I'm taking my reverse grip tweezers. Okay, there it's done. Okay, let's move this over, and it has cut through. So I'm just going to unload my mat, and I'm going to just lift it off like this so that you can see what is left over. Okay, so there it is, perfect and pretty clean cut. Here is my one circle. There we go. Here is my other one. Okay, and now I just want to be quite delicate with this. I don't want to pull on it too much. I don't want it to stretch because of the iron-on edge that I'm going to be applying it to. So I found if I just pull on it, it stretches so slightly and then it doesn't align quite as nicely. So there you go. There's such a beautiful, perfect, clean cut. And look at all that fuzz that stayed behind. And let's lift this one up. This is such a pretty rose. And there we have it. Don't want to pull on it too much. There we go. There is our second flower, and there is our fuzz. As you can see, it did cut through a little bit of the transfer tape over there, but we are not phased by that. We can actually salvage this area over here. So I am actually going to put the backing onto it. I don't like wasting, so let's do that. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to lift with the backing. Okay, so we can reuse this area. We can use that area, and this we can just remove, and our mat stays intact without the fuzz, and it is happy days. So that we can do as a little therapy session when we're done with our flowers. But I just love how my mat stayed intact and I don't have to worry about messing that up. So I'm just going to close it for now. And continue with our flowers. Sarah says Cricut felt is highly underrated. I agree 100%. The quality is incredible. I invested into cutting machines for the fact of I wanted to make felt books, and I remember using other felt initially, and it was not so fun to work with. So I do highly recommend. It is really premium quality. Okay, so now I'm going to align my edge to my felt, and I'm happy with that. And then taking my mini press again, adding some pressure, moving along. Margaret says she loves using felt. She made bunny paper clips last year for Easter. That is such a cute idea. I actually would love to go and find that to make for the kiddies. They also love felt. It's such a nice material to work with. Okay, while that one cools down, let's add our edge to the next one, making sure it aligns. Okay, I can see that I pulled on this one a little bit, so I'm just gonna fix that edge there a little bit. There we go. Now it aligns perfectly. So the very first ones that I made was the yellow, and I'm like, these are my favorites. And then I made the purple, and I'm like, no wait, this has my heart. And now I think the red really seals in the deal for me. I think the red is my favorite. Okay. I'm going to peel off the one that has already been cooled down. There we go. There's the next one. And this part is honestly so satisfying. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is our three. This one I already rolled a little bit earlier. And let me find my tweezers. Here we go. Okay, so let's do this one first. So we are going to start with the outer piece, and we're going to place it in between our tweezers, gripping it and turning it. I'm going to make it a little bit tight initially. And now of course my hands are a little shy. Okay, so I'm going to start rolling it in itself a little bit tight and loosening up a little bit as we go along, making sure that that bottom edge is flush as I roll it. Okay, I'm going to let go of the tweezers there, and as you can see it's starting to take shape. Just going to use my fingers to roll it out, always making sure that this bottom edge is nice and flush with itself, just to make it as neat as possible. And it's already taking shape. I wonder if you can see it. You can see that little sparkle. It's so pretty. This one is perfect the way it is. Sometimes I let it go just to unravel a little bit if it doesn't fit so nicely here with that backing area. But as you can see, it is completely flush there, and it's not bulging out anywhere, and it fits nicely onto that backing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this entire area so that it kind of oozes in there a little bit to every part of the petal so that it stays intact and it won't unravel in the middle when we let it go. But please be careful, use very, very little, because with the glue gun it does harden hard, and then less is more, definitely. So I'm just going to add a little bit, saturating it in there on the outer edge a little bit, and that is enough. Now please be careful, it is very hot. Okay. And now before it actually cools down entirely, you can actually pull on the petals a little bit just to open it up before it cools down. And there is our first rose. Oh, it's so pretty. Is it too late for Valentine's? Can definitely still give this to our friends. I'm going to add a little bit more glue here to that edge. And there we go. Hold it in place a little bit. And there is our first rolled flower. Okay, let's go on to our next one. And then we do the same thing. We clasp the end in between our tweezers and we start rolling. This makes a different flower. And we roll the iron-on edge towards the inside, because as we roll it, it gives it that beautiful edge on the inside of the petals rather. Oh, this one's pretty. Let me try to get a little bit closer so that you can see. Oh, pretty. Can they all be my favorites? Okay, once again, flush with each other. Oh my goodness, this is such a pretty one. So we can actually open it up a little bit before gluing it. Unraveling it just a smidge. I'm happy with that. Once again, very neat. Working here at the back. And I'm going to apply some glue, saturating it in there, but not adding too much. A little bit on that outer edge, and closing it on its platform. I like to try and work as neat as possible, especially when working with the glue gun. And also, especially because it's a paper clip and we are making bookmarks, we don't want too much of a bulge, so that it is still effective as a bookmark. Here we go. Oh, cute. There we go. Here's our next one. And if there is some pieces of glue, you can actually just pull on it and it removes itself. Okay, next one. Okay, once again, clasping that outer edge and rolling it inside, inwards on the glitter iron-on edges. And once you're happy with that, you can start rolling it with your fingers. Yes, Sarah, love is in fact for the whole year. I actually told my kids that as well. It's a good virtue. Okay, I'm happy with that. No need to let it go and unravel. And again, adding some glue gun to the back. Again, not too much, but making sure it's in there. Ooh, I want to burn. There we go. There we go. That's better. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this little edge over here, just to close it up a little bit. And there we have it. Okay. This one's just basically rolled already. It unraveled, but it still kept its form, which is nice, especially with this felt. Like I said earlier, it's stiff, but it's still thin, pliable, but it still takes its shape, which is so nice. So this one just needs a bit of glue, and we're happy with that. Once again, trying to add it to every single layer, and then closing it on its little platform. Ooh, this one's pretty. Oh wow, because this one is a little bit smaller, it actually gives it a different color because of the glitter iron-on. Okay, so let's get our paper clips. We need 4. And here's our circles. And I am going to work on my desk, because if glue messes, then it's good to remove. Okay, so making sure that your paper clip is the right side up. What I like to do is going to turn my flower upside down, add some glue, again not too much, take my paper clip, wiggle it all over in there, and I'm going to add a little bit more glue and cover it with a backing. And it is as quick and easy as that. Just cleaning up all these flyaways. And there you have it. Once again, flipping our little flower upside down, adding some glue. This one I'm going to add a little bit more. It's a little bit bigger. Wiggling in the paper clip in there and adding the circle. And as I push down, the glue kind of disperses everywhere, and so I'm able to play around with it to make sure it gets to all the edges. And of course, if there are some lifted areas, you can add some more glue and then kind of massaging the glue in there so that it's not a bulky edge. And look how neat and pretty that looks. Okay, there's our next one. Okay, so once again adding some glue, our paper clip, finding its little place in there and covering it with its backing. Massaging it in there, dispersing the glue everywhere. Removing these flyaways. And there is the next one. See how the sizes differ so much with the different spirals. Oh, they look so pretty. Okay, last one. Can add some glue in there, a decent amount. Play around with your clip a little bit. And then add your backing and massage it in there. Thank you guys. Lots of practice. Practice, practice, practice makes perfect. A little burn here and there and we're good to go. And there you have it. Pretty little bookmarks for any occasion. And there you have it. Such a nice little add-on. If you just want to maybe even add on a tag to a gift for someone special, there you have it. And I really do love that glitter on edge. It just elevates the entire project and makes it look super pretty. So there you go. Thank you to everyone who joined. I hope you enjoyed and learned one or two things, and I'll see you in the next live. Have a good evening. Bye.